You won, but the emptiness I feel now tells me some battles are hollow victories. You won, yet I keep replaying the moments that led me here, searching for answers. You won, and I'm left staring at the pieces of myself I didn't even know I'd lose. You won, and for the first time, I realize winning isn't always about happiness. You won, but I wonder if it was worth the silence that follows every thought of you. You won, and yet the victory tastes bitter in a heart that still remembers love. You won, and I feel like I've been erased from the story I thought we were writing. You won, and I'm left wondering if I ever really mattered in your eyes. You won, and I can't stop asking why winning felt so easy for you and so painful for me. You won, but I see now that some victories come at the cost of everything beautiful. You won, and the irony is, I feel the weight of loss more than the thrill of defeat. You won, yet the emptiness you left behind screams louder than any celebration. You won, and the silence in your absence is a louder reminder than any words could be. You won, but the victory feels hollow when you no longer see me in your world. You won, and I keep replaying the moments, wondering if anything I did mattered. You won, and now I see that winning sometimes just means breaking someone else's heart. You won, and the pain I feel is proof that love can never be contained by a trophy. You won, yet the shadow of what we were will haunt me long after your celebration ends. You won, and the victory feels cheap compared to the love we lost along the way. You won, but I'm learning that losing is just a chapter, not the end of my story. You won, and the ache I feel proves that some losses teach us more than wins ever could. You won, yet I still carry pieces of you that no victory could erase. You won, and it stings, but it also reminds me of my own strength in surviving the pain. You won, and the victory is yours, but the scars you left are mine to bear. You won, and I'm left questioning if I ever truly understood the cost of loving you. You won, and the emptiness in your absence feels heavier than the weight of any defeat. You won, but I will rise from this loss stronger, wiser, and more unbreakable than before. You won, yet I find myself quietly celebrating the freedom that comes after heartbreak. You won, and the tears I shed are proof that love is always worth the fight. You won. And I realize that sometimes losing someone is the only way to find myself. You won, but the echo of your laughter still haunts the corners of my mind. You won, and yet the victory feels empty because it cost me the love I once cherished. You won, and I'm left staring at a life that feels both unfamiliar and strangely freeing. You won, yet every memory of us now carries the sting of what could have been. You won, and I understand now that some battles are never about the prize. They're about the lesson. You won, and the ache I feel is a reminder that love always leaves its mark. You won, but I'm slowly learning that letting go is its own kind of triumph. You won, yet the victory feels small against the emptiness you left behind. You won, and I realize the pain is temporary, but the lessons will last forever. You won, yet the ghost of us lingers, whispering truths I'm still too afraid to face. You won, and I'm left carrying memories that no amount of time can erase. You won, yet in my silence, I find the courage to rebuild what was broken. You won, and I feel the weight of your triumph pressing against the quiet of my soul. You won, but the love we had was never meant to be measured in victories. You won, and I realize the heartbreak is just proof that I loved fully and without fear. You won, yet I find strength in knowing I survived the storm you left behind. You won, and the ache in my chest reminds me that losing can also teach resilience. You won, but the emptiness in my heart refuses to bow to your triumph. You won, and I'll carry the lessons of this loss into every future love I allow. You won, yet I'm learning to find beauty in the pieces of myself you couldn't take. You won, and the memories linger like whispers of a love that refuses to die quietly. You won, yet I feel an unexpected peace in letting go of someone who couldn't stay. You won, and I realize that losing isn't failure. It's the first step toward something real. You won, but the love I gave freely was never meant to be measured by your victory. You won, and yet I feel the quiet strength in knowing my heart still beats for me. You won, but the storm of emotions you left behind will guide me to my own calm. You won, and I'm learning that some losses are blessings in disguise, though hard to see now. You won, yet I know my heart will mend, piece by piece, stronger than before. You won, and the tears I cried are proof that I loved deeper than you ever will.